Welcome back to my channel, guys. This is me, everyone, with another anime first impression video. This is going to be another hidive series. I talked about it in my previous first impression video about if you haven't heard of hidive, if you're new to the anime, genre, which you could be. Hidive is another Crunchyroll, essentially. They've been a company for years now. I remember when it first came out, I actually subscribed to it, so luckily I have the cheap price because I locked in the cheap price. But I think right now it's like $5 a month, something like that, so it's not too bad, but it is another subscription, so just FYI. They only have about 3 or 4 series releasing, and I believe Oshinoko, which is like the big one for them, is also releasing in Hulu. So oh wow. This is going to be on Dungeon People. Dungeon People is one that I had never heard of. I saw it, and by golly, is actually good. It's actually interesting to be honest. Dungeon People is a series that brings more of the background story, I guess, of the dungeons into life. Now, before anything else, guys, if you haven't done so by now, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm trying my best to release a lot of first impression videos. I am traveling, which is why I'm posting here on my van. I am having difficulties with stands and the sun overheating my phone, which is why I'm holding my phone under the shade right now. But I just, I'm gonna try my best to release as much as possible for you guys before this week ends. And then next week, when stuff start releasing, pre-recorded stuff start releasing, I will try to release as much as possible when it comes to just in between the other stuff that's releasing. So it is what it is. Oh well. So okay, let's talk about Dungeon People. Dungeon People starts with a dual dad and daughter. Essentially, they're in this like thief association that goes through dungeons, and they defeat the dungeons. And the dad is training his daughter to be the best that she can be when she grows up. Then she's like a little girl. I want to say like 5 or 6, and the extremes rule that he puts are just extremes. Like at one point he says you have to be able to be in battle for 10 straight hours if possible. So they train for 12 hours back to back, non-stop fighting. And he like tells her you can take a break, because any breaks they can come and cut your throat. And he's like, for example, right now, and he puts the sword almost right close to her eye, and he's like, you blinked, and that split of a second that you blinked, I could have killed you. And she like, it's very, very extreme, but you can tell that he means well. He means well in trying to train her, getting her prepared to basically survive. And then she grows up, and she says that her dad one day disappears in the dungeon, and then 3 years pass, and she decides to go through the dungeon as far as possible. Now the actual story starts with her going to the dungeon, and she's already reaching level 8, and she says that basically the majority of people, the people that she's talked to, everyone has said that they've lost or never gone past level 7. So she already is passing level 8, and she's by herself. So she reaches level 9, and there's this huge what's it called, half bull, half human, I forgot the name, I just said it in the last review. Anyways, it's that creature, and they're fighting, and through their fight, like, she's doing really well. You can tell that she's trained. She breaks a wall, and this is kind of like the 4th wall effect of a dungeon. Like, we can see past the wall, there's like a bed and stuff like that, and the guy's like, okay, let's take a break, let's stop there. Like, he starts talking to her. The Minotaur, that's what it's called. Minotaur starts talking to her and says, yeah, don't you see the wall broke? And she's like, yeah, that never happens. Like, yeah, we have to stop. And she says, well, I can't feel his bloodlust anymore, so she thinks it's safe. And then all of a sudden, past the room, there's a door. She feels a stronger presence, and she's like, wait, there's someone stronger past that door. And someone opens the door. It's a little girl with white hair. And she starts talking to the Minotaur like, you shouldn't be talking to the adventurers, and like, yeah, I get it. I'll let you pass by this because the wall broke. Like, it's not your fault. Like, it's very much like they're almost putting up like a theater, like almost almost like that, I guess. And our protagonist is completely confused, right? Well, she starts telling her like, hey, like, I'm just trying to get to this dungeon. I'm looking for my dad. And they don't really mention the dad, but the girl says, well, I've been watching you. I want you to work for me. And I'm actually the boss of level 10. And she's like, well, how many levels does this thing have? She's like, it's only 10 levels. I'm your last boss. And she's like, well, I want to fight you. And if I beat you, she's like, I just want to go free and get out of this dungeon. But if I lose, then I guess I'll stay here and work for you. So we get this whole 5-minute scene of them fighting. And we can tell our protagonist is well trained. But this boss, she's OP. She really is. She does this spell that basically covers the entire arena, and she knocks her out. She knocks her out. When she comes back to conscious, she lets her know that, okay, now you work for me. And she's like, well, what about the thief guild? She's like, oh, don't worry. Like, the guy that founded that used to be the leader of this dungeon. And it's like, I'll get all the paperwork done. Don't worry about it. You'll work here. And that's the end of the episode. So it's pretty wild. It's funny. It's kind of sad with the whole dad thing. So you get a lot of emotions from the preview for the next episode. It looks like she really is going to be working in the background of the dungeon, trying to reproduce the dungeon, but also make it where it's more difficult for adventurers to go through certain areas. So, like I said, it seems like the actual anime itself is going to be like people working in the background of the dungeons, of how the dungeon actually works, how it reproduces monsters and all that. So I think it will be interesting. It's going to be funny. It's going to kind of make fun of the whole dungeon trope animes that we have. So yeah, it is on hidive, like I said, so it might not get as much love as it deserves, but there is one episode out. Go check it out, hidive.com. Not sponsored by them, but they are another company like Crunchyroll, so go give them some love. Thank you again for your love and support in this channel, and like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.